Hello, my friends, and thank you for taking the time and watching this video. Danny here. This is going to be video number 1 out of a 3-part videos that I'm going to cover advanced or more complex, deal making or opportunities that I want to share with you, things that I've been working on myself. So we have a 3-part series. This is number 1. And I'm going to talk about what's called a subject to deal. So subject to will be video number 1. I'm going to talk about twist in the plot, which is option to buy and lease back option as well, or lease back by the seller. That will be in video number 2. And video number 3, I'm going to talk about VA loan assumption. VA loan assumption, 3 videos. Let's get started with video number 1 on the subject to. What is a subject to? Subject to, sub to is the nickname. Sub to is when you or I buy a house subject to the existing mortgage. Okay, subject to the existing mortgage. What does it really mean? It actually means I'm buying a house from a seller, and the seller, instead of paying off the mortgage, they keep the mortgage in place, and I am actually taking over the mortgage payments and everything from this day over. So that means when the transaction is completed, it will look like this. A seller sold me a house, let's just say for $300,000, and the mortgage is for $200,000, right? But I only brought $100,000 to the table, right? The gap between those two, and the mortgage of the seller stays in place, but the title to the property was switched to my name, right? Or to the entity of my choice. So I'm the owner, the new owner of this property. There is a mortgage for $200,000 at whatever rate the seller has. Let's just call it 3.5%, right? And the mortgage stays the same. The name on the mortgage is not me. The name of the mortgage is the seller, and I'm basically taking over the payments and everything moving forward. Here's a couple of things you need to understand about the subject to concept, right? It's what I consider complex, and there's complexity, more complicated, and risk. I want you to understand what it means. It means the following. First of all, when the seller signed the mortgage agreement to get the mortgage on this house, when they purchased it some time ago, one of the clauses in the mortgage was something along the lines of, you are not supposed to transfer title to anybody else, and if you do, we may call the mortgage. We would ask you to pay the mortgage pretty much immediately. So when we're doing something like this, the biggest risk is that the lender will find out and say, hey, I need you to pay the mortgage or close the mortgage or pay it off, whatever. And that's in their contractual right as the lender. So when I'm doing something like this and I'm technically not letting the mortgage lender know about it, there is a breach of contract with the mortgage lender, mainly the seller's breach of contract, and if the mortgage company finds out, they may ask to get paid for the mortgage. That is the biggest known risk with this kind of a scenario. The reality is that I have been aware of this kind of a setting, what's called the subject to setting, for such a long time, for 20 years. I'm aware this exists, but I've only seen twice in my career a letter from a lender asking for the mortgage to be paid off in a similar situation. So that tells me, I think it's a known fact, that in our industry, the chances of mortgage company actually acting on asking the mortgage to be paid are very, very, very small. Obviously, it's not zero, it's just small, right? So when I am an owner or buyer, buying in a setting like this, I need to understand this is risk number 1. And I can tell you that I have done a deal like this about a year ago, and I am the owner of that property, and the mortgage is in place, and the mortgage, the name of the mortgage is not me, it's the seller. She is already moved out. I already rented the house, and this is the setting that is called subject to. When we're doing a subject to, because the seller is still somewhat involved on the mortgage or in some other ways, and maybe I can tell you from my own personal experience, we had the seller sign and notarize a lot of documents allowing me to take care of the mortgage and talk to the mortgage company and talk to the insurance company and a general this and a specific that. There's like, she signed so many documents, notarizing them, allowing me to be able to actually control everything, every aspect related to this property without kind of needing her. So she kind of moved on, and I am in possession of all those. That's like 10 sets of different documents that she signed and notarized, giving me all the permission to deal with those things. So this is something that's called subject to. There is complexity to it on one hand. Here are some of the benefits. Now that we understand the complexity and risk, some of the benefits. Benefit number one, I am taking over the mortgage at the rate and the terms that the seller has. If she has it, in my case, at 3.5%, I am now getting a mortgage for continuing a mortgage that is paid, that's paying 3.5% interest rate, right? Great for cash flow. Number two, I don't have to go through a loan application process. I just bought the property with a mortgage. So there's no application, no paperwork, no appraisal. I can do appraisal, but there's no appraisal that then must be done. I could do. And all that hustle with a mortgage company, with a mortgage lender, when we're buying a house, does not exist. So this is a little bit, nice to have as well. Also, this mortgage is not reported on my credit report. It may be in my taxes, it probably will be, but it's not on my credit report. One less mortgage on my credit report, right? So those are the benefits that I would be interested to consider doing something like this. The nice thing about sometimes of a deal that's been done like this, including the one that I did about a year ago, is that I was able not only to take over the mortgage and mortgage payments of that person, but also to buy that house significantly below market value. So there was an equity position to it, and because of the low interest rate, cash flow is quite nice. This house has been rented. I have a tenant that moved in about 2 months after I purchased it, and she signed a 2-year lease, to list it for me at, I would say about $100 less than what I anticipated the rent would be. So that's nice as well. It's cash flowing, it's nice, it's operating quite nicely. So this is an example of a subject to where I taking over obligation. I even sign I do sign a promissory note that's saying that I have the obligation to pay the mortgage of that person. So that is my obligation now. I have no intention not to pay, so that's not a problem. And that is a deal that has another layer of complexity, but a lot of benefits. So I want you to understand, at least in general, what is the subject to deal and how does one looks like. There's a lot of nuances, paperwork, legal stuff, which we're not going to dive into, but at least you now have a general understanding what a subject to deal looks like. Let me know if you have any questions on this subject to idea. You're always welcome to get in touch with us to ask more. Of course, I would ask you guys to subscribe to our channel if you have not done it already, just because it does help with SEO and stuff like this, or leave comments. That will be always beneficial. Stay tuned for video number 2 about the topic of creative deals, creative opportunities, which I'm going to talk about some twist in the plot. See you in video number 2.